Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. In the celestial realm of ethereal, where the heavens met the mortal world, the sky was filled with countless shimmering stars. These were no mere decorations in the night sky, but sources of cosmic power carefully tended by the Star Watcher. For millennia, they had protected the universe, balanced by ensuring that the light of the stars remained constant, shining their brilliance across the heavens and down to the mortal realm below. Leah, a young and eager Star Watcher, walked along the ethereal paths of ethereal. Her soft silver robes shimmered with the light of the stars she guarded. Though still an apprentice, Leah took pride in her duties. She stood on the balcony of her star observatory, gazing into the vast expanse of the universe, her heart swelling with a sense of purpose. Today, however, something felt off. The stars, usually so bright and steadfast, flickered faintly. Leah narrowed her eyes, focusing her mind. She extended her hand, feeling the magic of the stars pulse through her fingers, but instead of the usual comforting warmth, there was a chill. The light was dimming, and that could only mean one thing. Someone was tampering with the stars. Leah's breath hitched. The balance is shifting, she whispered. She turned on her heel, her silver robes flowing behind her as she ran to the center of the observatory, where her mentor, Master Galen, was reviewing the latest celestial chart. Master Leah burst into the room, startling the older man. His long gray beard twitched as he looked up from his chart. "What is it, child?" Galen asked, his voice calm but laced with concern as he saw the panic on her face. "Stars, they were fading," Leah said breathlessly, pointing toward the sky. Galen frowned deeply, his fingers tracing the intricate patterns of the celestial map. "I feared this day would come." He looked into Leah's eyes, his voice lowering. "A dark force is rising, one that has long sought to consume the light of the stars. I had hoped we would have more time, but it seems the prophecy is upon us." Leah's heart pounded. Prophecy. The words sent a shiver down her spine. The ancient texts had spoken of a time when darkness would rise to swallow the stars, plunging the universe into eternal night. She had heard whispers of this in her studies, but had never imagined she would live to see it. "We must act quickly," Galen continued. "You have a gift, Leah. Your connection to the stars is unlike any other. You may be the only one capable of stopping this." Leah's eyes widened. "Me, but I am not ready. I am still learning that." "You are more ready than you think," Galen said softly. "The you won. To be able to do this alone, you'll need Allah's powerful one." "You gain away, let's watch for away." She ignore this? The universe depended on it. Where do I start? She asked. "Go to the realms beyond Ariel. Seek out Ariel, a mage of great power, and Orion, a warrior of unmatched skill. They will help you. And there is one more." Galen's voice grew heavy with hesitation. "An angel named Seraphiel. She knows the ancient ways, though she has her own secret." Leah nodded, her resolve hardening. There was no turning back now. She quickly packed her belongings, tucking her star-shaped pendant, her source of star magic, safely into her robe. With a final glance at Galen, who gave her a solemn nod, she set out on her journey. The first realm Leah entered was the domain of magic, a place where the air hummed with spells and the very earth beneath her feet pulsed with energy. Tall crystalline towers reached into the sky, shimmering with magical light. It was here that Oriel, the mage Galen spoke of, resided. Leah made her way to Ariel's tower, her footsteps echoing on the marble floor. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of burning incense, and books lined every wall, some floating lazily in the air as if reading themselves. "Ariel," called as she entered the chamber. A figure stepped forward from behind a bookshelf. Ariel was tall, her long, dark hair flowing freely over her deep blue robe. Her eyes sparkled with intelligence and power. "Leah, I've been expecting you. You know why I am here." Ariel smiled. "The stars spoke to me. Their light is fading. I can sense it." She walked closer, her gaze piercing. "You seek to stop the darkness." Leah nodded. Ariel said, "But know this darkness we face is no ordinary enemy. It is ancient and powerful. We will need more than just magic to defeat it." Leah's thoughts immediately turned to Orion, the warrior Galen had mentioned. "Tali, then we must find Orion." Their journey continued to the mortal realm, where Leah and Ariel found Orion deep in the heart of a battlefield. Clad in shining armor, his sword gleaming with the blood of fallen enemies, he was the very image of a warrior. Orion, Leah called out over the clamor of battle. He turned his intense gaze, falling on her calls. Who calls my name in the midst of war? A star watcher, Leah replied, stepping forward. Fairies need your help. The stars, our world, is in danger. Orion sheathed his sword and approached them. His eyes hardened from years of battle, softened slightly as he regarded Leah. If the stars are threatened, then we all are. I will stand by your side. With their trio formed, Leah and Ariel and Orion continued their quest. But the final ally, Seraphiel, was the most elusive. Seraphiel, the angel who dwelled at the edge of the heavens, was said to be connected to the ancient war between light and darkness. Leah had heard tales of her, but none knew where she had gone after the war sent. The group traveled to the celestial outskirts where the light of the stars barely reached. There in a hidden temple, they found Seraphiel. She was unlike anyone Leah had ever seen, tall and graceful with glowing wings that shimmered faintly with divine light. Seraphiel radiated both strength and mystery. Her eyes, however, were filled with a sadness that Leah could not place. You had come to ask for my aid, Seraphiel said, her voice melodic but distant. Leah stepped forward. Yes, we need you. The darkness is rising again. Seraphiel sat, wings folded tightly against her back, and she turned away. I swore I would never fight again after the last war. The cost was too great. Leah's heart sank. But if you don't help us, the stars will die. The universe will fall into darkness. For a moment, Seraphiel said nothing. Then with a heavy sigh, she turned back to Leah. Very well, I will fight once more, but you must know this. There are secrets about the stars that even you, Leah, do not understand. Leah frowned. What do you mean? Seraphiel's seas darkened. You will see in time. With Seraphiel's says, reluctant agreement, their group was finally complete, and together they set off toward the first star in danger, the star of Elysia, a beacon of light that guided travelers across the realm. If the darkness consumed it, the path between realms would close, isolating worlds from each other forever. As they approached Elysia's celestial chamber, the sky darkened. Shadowy figures swirled around the star, draining its light. Leah's heart raced as she felt the star's energy ebbing away. She raised her hand, summoning her star magic, but it was weak to fight the darkness alone. Seraphiel stepped forward, her wings glowing brighter as she unleashed a wave of divine light, scattering the shadow creatures. Ariel cast protective wards around the star, while Orion stood guard, his sword ready to strike down any remaining threat. But just as they thought they had won, a figure emerged from the shadows. Karel, a rogue star watcher, his eyes burning with dark power. Leah sneered. Did you really think you could stop this? Leah's blood ran cold. Gabriel's dark grin sent a chill through Leah's spine. His presence was suffocating, a manifestation of the very darkness they had been fighting against. His once familiar features were twisted by the corruption of star magic, turned foul. Leah's heart pounded, not just with fear, but with the weight of betrayal. Karel had been one of them, a star watcher. Now he stood before them, wielding the power of the dark forces that sought to consume the light. Caroline, Leah's voice trembled with both shock and anger. You were one of us. One of you, Karel's laugh was a hollow, bitter sound. I was never one of you. I saw the truth long ago. The stars, they are nothing but shackles, chains that bind us to a predetermined fate. But the darkness, it offers freedom, power beyond imagination. Leah stepped forward, her fingers curling tightly around the pendant that hung around her neck. Its faint glow, barely visible. That power will destroy everything. The balance was always a lie. Karel's eyes blazed with anger as he interrupted her. The stars have always kept us in servitude, toiling to preserve an order that means nothing. But now I can finally break those chains, and he pointed at her with disdain. You and your friends can truly stop me. Without warning, Karel raised his hand, and a surge of dark energy pulsed toward them. Leah barely had time to react, throwing up a protective barrier of star magic. The force of Karel's attack crashed against her shield, sending her stumbling back. Leah, Orion called out, rushing to her side, his sword gleaming as he prepared to defend her. Ariel stood firm, her staff glowing as she began to weave a counter spell. But it was Seraphiel who acted first, her wings unfurling in a brilliant display of light. She launched herself toward Karel, her divine power colliding with his dark energy in a blinding explosion. The impact sent shockwaves through the chamber, and for a moment, Leah was blinded by the sheer brilliance of the clash. When the light subsided, Seraphiel and Kyle stood locked in a deadly struggle, their powers evenly matched. Carol's face twisted with rage as he poured more darkness into his assault, but Seraphiel's resolve held firm. Still, Leah could see the strain in the angel's eyes, the toll that the battle was taking on her. "We can Seraphiel face him alone," Leah said, determination flooding her veins. "We need to end this now." Orion nodded, his grip tightening on his sword. "What's the plan?" "Ariel, create a barrier to protect the star," Leah instructed. "Orion, you and I will back Seraphiel up. We need to weaken Corin long enough for me to bind him." Ariel quickly went to work, her hands moving in intricate patterns as she conjured a protective ward around the star of Elysia, its light flickering but still present. Orion charged forward, his sword cutting through the darkness that swirled around Coral while Leah followed, her star magic glowing brighter with each step. Chaos's focus faltered as Orion's blade struck his defenses. He snarled in frustration, turning his attention from Seraphiel to the warrior now at his side. Orion's strikes were precise, each blow pushing Kyle back, forcing him to shift his stand. "You were a fool to stand against me," Kyle hissed, his voice filled with malice. He raised his hand again, summoning another wave of dark energy, but before he could release it, Leah unleashed her magic. The stars themselves seemed to respond to her call as streams of light shot toward Jirel, wrapping around him like chains. He struggled, his power flaring in a desperate attempt to break free, but Leah held firm, pouring all of her strength into the binding spell. "I want to let you destroy everything," Leah shouted, her voice filled with both anger and sorrow. "This ends now." For a brief moment, it seemed as though they might succeed. Kariel's movement slowed, the darkness around him beginning to fade as the star magic took hold. But then with a final furious roar, he broke free, the chains of light shattering into pieces. Leah staggered back, gasping for breath. Carol's eyes were wild with fury, his body crackling with dark power. "You cannot stop me, Leah. The darkness is eternal, and you are nothing but a speck of light that will soon be snuffed out." Before Leah could react, Carol surged forward, his hand outstretched. A blast of dark energy struck her squarely in the chest, and she was thrown to the ground, the breath knocked from her lung. "No," Orion yelled, rushing toward Carol with his sword raised high, but Carol was ready. With a flick of his wrist, he sent Orion flying into the wall, his sword clattering to the ground. Ariel's magic flared, but Carol countered with a wave of darkness, neutralizing her spells with ease. Seraphiel, still weakened from their earlier clash, struggled to rise, her wings trembling with exhaustion. Leah lay on the cold ground, pain radiating through her body. Her vision blurred as she struggled to push herself up, but her limbs felt heavy as if the darkness itself was weighing her down. Kyle loomed over her, his shadow stretching long across the floor. "This is where it ends," he said softly, his voice dripping with triumph. "For you, for your friends, for the star." Leah's fingers curled weakly around her pendant, its light barely a flicker now. She could feel the darkness closing in, suffocating her, draining her strength. But even in the face of despair, something deep within her refused to give up. The stars had not abandoned her. She could still feel their faint, distant light calling to her, urging her to rise. With a final surge of willpower, Leah pushed herself to her feet. Her legs trembled, but she stood tall, her eyes locking onto Coral. "You're wrong," she said, her voice steady despite the pain. "The light will never die." Carol's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Leah raised her hand, her star magic flaring to life once more. This time, it wasn't just her power. It was the power of all the stars, their light converging into a single brilliant bet sought toward Carol. The impact was immediate. Carol screamed as the light engulfed him, his dark magic unraveling in the face of such overwhelming power. He stumbled back, his form flickering like a dying flame. But it was Leah's magic surged, pushing Kyle to the edge of the chamber, his body disintegrating into the darkness from which he had come. With one final defiant scream, Coral was consumed and the shadows that had plagued the star of Elysia vanished. The silence that followed was deafening. Leah stood there, her chest heaving with exhaustion, the glow of her star magic slowly fading. The star of Elysia shone brightly once more, its light restored, its balance preserved. Orion, Ariel, and Seraphiel gathered around her, their faces a mixture of relief and awe. Seraphiel's wings shimmered faintly as she spoke. You have done what even I could not. You saved the stars. Leah shook her head, still catching her breath. We saved them, all of us. Seraphiel smiled softly, her eyes filled with a strange knowing sadness. Your journey is not yet over, Leah. The darkness has been defeated here, but there are other stars in danger. You are their protector now. Leah met Seraphiel's gaze, understanding dawning on her. The burden of the stars had shifted to her, and with it the responsibility to defend them from the darkness that would always seek to return. I understand, Leah said quietly. Orion placed a hand on her shoulder. We'll be with you, Leah, every step of the way. Ariel nodded in agreement, her eyes filled with determination. Together we can keep the stars safe. Leah smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude for her friend. They had faced the darkness and won, but she knew their fight was far from over. As they stood beneath the glowing light of the Star of Elysia, Leah looked up at the heavens, her mind already turning to the battles ahead. The stars were watching, and she would not let them fall.